up, folks? This is BEG Wrestling. We are here. Absolutely loaded show here. We got breaking news here tonight, I guess, and essentially with Cornell Kevin. And we're going to be talking Jax Forrest, whether he's wrestling. We got the top 12 matchups to look forward to this weekend. Also recapping last weekend. The big one, folks. The big doozy. Penn State, Ohio State coming up Friday night. Number one versus number two. Along with quite a few other great duels. Absolutely loaded weekend. This is the time of the year. Cornell Kevin's here, and we're going to get right to it. Jax Forrest, he's done the math. The wizard himself, Cornell Kevin. How you doing,
What's
man?
up, man?
Tell us what the news is.
Good. So I think we got this figured out, man. I've been listening to all the podcasts, and there's just seems to be some confusion going on as far as, has he used his dates yet? Has he, has he burned his shirt? If his next match, will he burn his shirt? What does this mean with him going to the open tournament, the Lock Haven, Matt Town Open? What does that mean? Why isn't he wrestling Seidel? So you got to really break it down into a few different things. And there's a couple things people are forgetting. All right. One is that when you wrestle your first semester, you have to wrestle attached. Okay. It doesn't matter if it is the second semester of the year or not. This is Jack's first semester. So Jack's going to this Matt Town Open. If he does go, he has to wrestle attached. He cannot wrestle unattached. Okay. Another thing people are forgetting is that you look at the dates he's got, and he's got January 11th against Oklahoma, the Bedlam Dues. He's got January 18th, the Cyclone Open. Then he's got the 23rd, which is Missouri. Then he has a weekend where he's got Northern Iowa and Iowa State. So they think that's 4-5. Well, in the rules, it says that one weekend only, you're allowed to have two duels count as one date, as long as they're 3 days within each other. So right now, Jax actually has 4 dates. He does not have 5 dates. A lot of people are saying he's got his 5 already. So he's got 4. So what does this all mean? Well, basically, it makes sense that he's going to go to this Open. Why would David Taylor have him go to this Open? Well, because he wants to give him more matches so he can have an RPI. Right now, Jax has 7 matches. If he doesn't go to an Open, he will end up after conferences only having, say, 12 matches. It's not going to be enough for an RPI. So it makes sense that he's going to this Open, because if he gets 3 or 4 matches there and then he comes back and he's wrestling against Iowa, that's a for sure thing. There's no way that Jax is not wrestling against Iowa, okay?
That's what me coming up in a couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's put it this way, Zach. If he was going to, if this is his, he's got 4 dates, right? He's going to use his 5th. If he wasn't going to wrestle this postseason, he wouldn't be wrestling at all this weekend. Not the Open or not versus Virginia Tech, because he would use that 5th date for Iowa. There's no way that they're going to blow that on an Open and sit him against Iowa. But a lot of people are thinking, well, he can wrestle unattached at the Open. He cannot wrestle unattached. He has to wrestle attached. So this way, this gives him this X amount of matches, whereas when he wrestles against Iowa, yes, he will be burning his shirt when he wrestles against Iowa. And then after conferences, he's going to have just exactly 15 matches, which will give him an RPI and help with his seeding at NCAAs. Okay. So as long as we see Jax wrestle at all this weekend, whether it's at the Open or against Seidel, he's wrestling this postseason.
Okay.
If
and
we
you
don't
mentioned
see
the RPI,
him,
then
yes.
you're not going to see
this
him.
this is why you're going to want an RPI, because people are like, well, what is, what are allocations, and what does it matter if he's got an RPI, if he's going to qualify anyway? Well, this is the seeding criteria when you go to NCAAs. You get each guy, all 33 guys in the bracket, you put one against the other, and you keep doing that. So Jax versus Seidel, you go down these. Whoever has more, they're 1-0. Jax versus Ayala, Whoever has more, they get the win. That's how they seed these. And as you can see, RPI is 10% of this. You have to have 15 matches against certified Division One wrestlers in order to get an RPI. Just like you have to have 8 matches for certified Division One wrestlers in order to have a coach's ranking. Okay. So these are all components that are very important when it gets down to seeding. And David Taylor's thinking ahead. He's like, you know what? We don't want you to go into NCAAs with, 10% of the seeding criteria is out the window with you because you don't have enough matches. So it completely makes sense that he's going to this open.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the final thing I got to say is this: if we see him at the open, like everyone says, that absolutely means that we're going to see him at Iowa and see him in the postseason. If we don't see him at all this weekend, though, then that means that they're saving his 5th and final date for Iowa. But I just don't see it because too many people are saying that he's going to this open.
Yeah. Okay. You heard it first. Right there it is. Cornell Kevin did the math, ran the numbers. Dude, if you see Jax Forrest this weekend, you will see him in the postseason. And that is exciting. That's what we all been rooting for. We all want to see it. We've all been kind of led to believe that, all this hype and sending him out there, I don't see you, but it as you mentioned, Kevin, it's come down to the wire, and he's going to have exactly 15 matches to qualify for that 10% RPI seeding criteria, which is important, and just going to make the cut with the 5 dates.
Yeah, and just real quick, I know this isn't the most exciting thing, but I keep hearing people don't know what allocation is, Zach. They don't understand that. In order to get an allocation for your conference, you need 2 of 3 things. You need either to be ranked in the top 32 with the coach's ranking, be ranked in the top 32 with an RPI, which an RPI is, the way it's calculated is it's your strength of schedule with your opponent's strength of schedule with your opponent's strength of schedule. Okay. And then a 750 winning percentage. You have to have 2 of the 3 of these things to qualify to get an allocation for your conference. So why does this matter? Well, the more allocations you have, the more guys you're going to get in your conference bracket to qualify for NCAAs. So that's where they come up with, if you got allocation of 6 for 133 pounds at Big 12, 6 guys get in. If you don't have an allocation and you get injured or something happens, like what happened with Carter the other year, where his knee was messed up, you can't do that. You couldn't go into Big Tens and forfeit and get a wild card because you didn't have the allocation. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's why things like this are important. You need 2 of the 3. So again, Jax is going to end up with enough for a coach's ranking no matter what, and enough for the 750 percentage no matter what. So he's going to get an allocation, right? But where they're at wanting the matches in, so he gets the 10% RPI for the seeding for NCAAs.
Yeah. Okay. There it is. There it is, folks. Jax Forrest, expect to see him. See him this weekend.
Absolutely.
You see him this season. That's good news. That's good news if you're a Cowboy fan. By the way, we're live, folks. A lot of people in the comments, including Cowboy Brian, loves the mystery DT, has done this beautifully, keeps the attention going. There's an art to that. That is true. Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys, is the genius at that, but maybe regrettably so. But we are in the comments. Another thing that they were mentioning, Ronnie Ramirez, if he wrestles again, burns his shirt. So that all makes sense. But we are in the comments. This is live. So join the comments. Phone lines will open up. After we get through our opening material here. But we didn't go to comment of the week. First, I want to go back to comment of the week here because it's a unique one this week. And this week, it was actually on Flow Wrestling's live chat. And my dad was on there live chatting with people. And if you look here, do you have it? It says, by Flow Wrestling, says, Cory Beaver's Golden Journey is a must-watch, all 7 parts. Now, that's a story of my brother winning Pennsylvania States back in high school. And I wanted to really bring this up, Kevin, because it ties in along the lines of Kelly the other day. My fiance asked me, why do you like wrestling so much? And I was like, wow, that's a deep question. I could go, but, along with things like I believe it just makes people better people. You understand how to deal with losing and criticism, and it's all on you. But one of the reasons why is back, and this is all, if you go on YouTube, search Cory Beaver's Golden Journey. When my brother won states, and I was in college, just my freshman year in college, for some reason, Kevin, that gave me a level of personal confidence. Seeing my brother go through that I have forever carried on throughout my life. Like a different level, just, I don't know, maybe it was just how close I was to it, knowing that I could just beat him up all the time, like it was nothing, and he just won states. I'm like, wait, these state winners aren't all that, but I don't know, but kidding. But the reality is, like, it gave me a level of personal confidence that I've carried throughout the rest of my life. And for that reason, I've always been appreciative of the sport of wrestling and what it's done for me. And it's weird because it wasn't even for me. It was for my brother, but it affected me
It's
so
the
much.
family, man. Yeah. Yep. Like, Zach, if I love that video. And the thing, if whoever hasn't seen it, the coolest thing about this is, Cory, he's in the state final, right? And he's got it. And I'm probably gonna screw this up, but he could just like send it into overtime, right, Zach? But he lets the guy up again
with
to
30
take him
seconds
down
left.
again. Total balls to the wall, and it was awesome. Like, he could have just done what everyone else would do and be like, all right, let's get this into overtime, but no. And you hear your dad be like, what are you doing? Lets him up, and he takes him down again, and it was awesome. And
I'm not sure, Cory,
just,
still to this day, he says he knew what he was doing, but I still to this day question whether he did or not. But yeah, let him up with 30 seconds and got the takedown as time expired to win the state championship. And then even to get there was fun. But hey, that was cool. Appreciate that from Flo. But we'll move on, man. We got a big week ahead. Kevin, I want to put up, this is the third week that I've done my top 12. First week was top 10, then I moved it to top 12 matchups of the weekend, okay? And I want to say, week 1, I had 10 matchups. 9 of the 10 actually happened. Week 2, 12 matchups. 11 of the 12 happened. You see them up on the screen. There were some big matchups that, we actually even haven't even had a chance to talk about it because last time we were live was Friday evening. But some big matchups that happened last weekend, man. Anything really that you want to mention before we go on? Gotti Ali beating Mirasola, that was something, but quite a few.
Yeah, there was, going full homer here, but 3 of those matchups were in the Penn Cornell duel, man, and they almost blew that duel because it was the first time they'd lost to Columbia in 40 years. This would have been the first time they lost to Penn in 23 years, and it came down to, Zach, it was 16-13 going into heavyweight. And Cornell's lost like every heavyweight duel this year. That's how we lost to Columbia in criteria. And I'm thinking to myself, we're going to lose. And so I'm hurrying up and I'm adding up all the match points because there was no pins. So I'm like, okay, I'm thinking to myself, when they win this, it will be 16-16. I'm adding up the match points. The match points turn out to be 40-40. I'm like, no. But Cruz, man, he 197 pounder, pulled the backup, pulled through, man, and got the win. And but there was some really good matchups in there. Cornella beat Composto for the second time this year. He's beaten him 7-2 and 7-3. Composto's only 2 losses are to Cornella. And let me tell you what, the match wasn't even that close. Questionable, the officiating horrendous in this duel. It was at Penn. Just awful. Questionable back points that the guy just starts counting after he's got him on. Cornella's got him on his back very late. He doesn't count 2. Then the worst of it all was Jackson Joy versus Cross Wasilewski, which Cross Wasilewski's top 5 wrestler. Yep. He was 21-1 going into the match, right? And he's kind of a spastic character. Jackson Joy beat him 5-1. Jackson Joy took him down 5 times, and they either said it was out of bounds, they threw a brick, said it wasn't a takedown, said it was reaction time. They counted 1 of his 5 takedowns. It was unbelievable. So the match was 5-1, but really, it was just. And another thing I want to touch base on with Zach is
302B9 in the comments says, surprised this stream isn't about how Jackson Joy is going to pin Shane Van Ness in the finals. It looks like you're getting close to it, Kevin.
Nah,
Keep
man,
going.
I'm not. I keep it real, brother. But what I will say, man, is Zach, this reaction time garbage is just it's so bad, man. And between that and the top wrestling, it says in the rules that you're supposed to try and turn someone. I'm so sick of seeing guys just hang on and do mat returns, and the crowd's all like, yeah, and they think, yeah, I'm doing a mat return, so it's not stalling. Well, if you're doing 20 mat returns, it is stalling, okay? Or the guy gets up and the guy's just in standing rear position, and he's just the guy in the front's holding his arms out, and the guy behind him is doing nothing. That's stalling on top. You gotta work for a pin, and they'll let this go on for a good minute and a half of the period. It's not top wrestling. It's horrible for the fans to watch, and it's awful. And I really wish that they would start calling stalling on top, so we could just, if you're great on top, great, but if you're not, then you got to go on your feet, man. It's just brutal to watch. So
yeah. Okay, I got to mention a match in my top 12 from last weekend before we move on to my top 12 coming up this weekend, folks. PJ Duke, catcher bone. Okay. Was that not fun? Not a lot of that going on in that match, Kevin. I think for the first time in his college career, we saw PJ Duke get angry at the end of that match,
man,
when it was on the fence whether he was going to lose 2 in a row, and he was like, dude, no, this is not happening. I'm not losing 2 matches in a row. He got angry, dude, and then attacked catcher bone for the winning takedown, but that was a fun match.
That was awesome. And I posted before it, I go, watch out for Canterbone. These two have wrestled 2 years ago. It was 2-1. The only guy ever from New York State in PJ Duke's high school career that lasted 6 minutes, which is a hilarious stat. And they're like, no, he got teched by Antrell Taylor. I'm like, it's all about styles, man. And the thing with that match, Zach, is Canterbone's really fun to watch. Great kid, 2-time state champ. He's a lot of fun. But did you see PJ Duke do what he did when he needed to? That is the level of talent that PJ Duke has, and I'm just not sure why we're not seeing him go out and do that lately. He's like tightening up. He's not, because that's what he can do. He had to get a takedown. It was a joke. It's like he just picked his ankle, boom, down immediately. And if he opens up like that, everybody at 157 has to be on notice. The question is he going to open up like that?
It tells me that Antrell Taylor match went so exactly how Antrell Taylor needed it to go for him to win. Because if PJ Duke gets that takedown, that match is different. Or if Taylor gets a takedown somehow, some way early, and PJ Duke gets into desperation mode, I think we saw PJ Duke's desperation mode against Catcherbone there, and it is a scary, scary mode level that he turns it up to. I want to see more of that angry PJ Duke. Maybe this is what he needed. You know what I mean? I don't know, but
yeah, if like I said before last week, Zach, PJ Duke should have wrestled that sudden victory like he was losing. Not only because that's what he's almost impossible to stop when he's just going at you, but because he's not one that's going to win a tiebreaker. But he was waiting for the boos of the crowd to get that second stall call against Taylor, and it just never came. They weren't going to stop the match with that. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. That worked out just as Antrell Taylor wanted it to a T. So we'll see what PJ does with it. But that's the kind of talent this kid has on his feet. It's scary.
Yeah, I wish he had Cannon this coming weekend. We'll talk about it, but right before we do, Ladarian Lockett beat Bianchi there. Gadiali beat Mirasola. I was proud of Gadiali, with that win. Davino beat Ayala. I was impressed with Davino there. Anything final thoughts on last weekend's top 12 before I show this?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ayala is definitely a lot better than he was at the beginning of the season. I know he lost the match, but he's someone that's going to be a tough out for people at conferences and NCAAs. And Feldman finally got Keeter. Ryder Block, it's like Ryder Block and Styles, you never really know what you're going to get. Styles has actually been more consistent than Ryder Block. But yeah, I was surprised to see Kennedy finally, he not finally, but I think he's 2-2 against Karchla, I think he was 1-2 against him. So that kind of
Kennedy
surprised
always
me. I thought
delivers.
Karchla was going to win that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
big win for Kennedy. He has some more tests coming up. This weekend's top 12 matchups, folks. I did a lot of research. Number 1, Ben Davino, Marcus Blaze at 133 in the big doozy coming up. Penn State, Ohio State. Another one in that duel, Lilidol Buzakis. That's a 1-2 matchup. And then I'm going to go to 157 here. Antrell Taylor, Cannon Webster. All right. Cannon Webster got hurt earlier in the year. Maybe a little overshadowed. Antrell Taylor maybe riding a little on his high horse. Upset alert. Upset alert here, 157. Then 165, Caliendo Joey Blaze. That's going to be fun. That's by far the best matchup in that dual meet. Iowa Purdue. Then at 285, we have Gadiali Keeter. 157, Ty Waters, Vince Zerbin. 174, Levi Haynes, Karchla. My dad made me put that on the list. He's convinced that's going to be a tight one. Then we got Feldman and Mirasola there, 285. Strickenberger Poulin at 125. AJ and Luffman at 285. Kennedy and Bo Montanona there at 174. And finally, LJ Arujo and Scholes at 165. Kevin, top 12 matchups this weekend, baby. And I got a high percentage of these happening. Over 90% of my top matchups, weekend matchups, actually happen. So look forward to these happening, folks.
Yeah, man, there's some good ones on there. Davino, the top two are two matchups where all four guys are undefeated. Okay, so that right there that's money right there. And you know what, man? I was all about Buzakis winning that match, but I think I might have a different. I don't know. I think if Lilidol can handle the storm to begin with, I think that he's going to come back in the third because Buzakis kind of seems to be right, second, third period, he kind of just glides. But those are going to be great matches. Antrell Taylor and Cannon Webster, kind of interesting at the National Duels Invitational, just to kind of show you where we are now as compared to where we were then. At National Duels, Antrell Taylor got majored by Rosinski from Lehigh, and then Cannon Webster that same day beat Rosinski 8-2, right? So, you were thinking, but now it's just completely different. Antrell Taylor's been on a roll, but I want to see Cannon Webster get to his offense and see what he can do. That's going to be an interesting match.
Don't forget, Cannon
absolutely.
Webster had your boy Meyer on the ropes just not too long ago.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a good defense. He's got to get to his offense though, because even against Meyer, he didn't really get to any offense. If he can get to and Antrell Taylor's so hard to score on, but hopefully he can get to his offense there. Ty Waters and Zerbin was supposed to be a match we were supposed to see at the CKLV finals, but Zerbin blew his knee out. So that should be an interesting match. Zerbin looks a lot better than he did a few weeks ago, health-wise. Strickenberger and Poland is a match we did see at CKLV in the semis, and that match drove me nuts. You want to talk about reviews? Strickenberger won it in sudden victory, but man, oh man, did he get screwed on a couple calls. 2 different takedowns taken away from him. That was brutal. So curious to see how that goes. It seems like we haven't seen Strickenberger a lot lately. Same with Waters, like West Virginia. I don't know. Maybe they just haven't been facing top quality teams like Cornell has with Brown and Harvard. And
well, they got a matchup. Yeah, I know, but they got a matchup this weekend. Iowa State.
Absolutely.
Coming up this weekend. That'll be fun. We can talk about that, but yeah, go ahead.
And they already faced Oklahoma State. Yeah, man, you did a great job with these, Zach. You have been doing an awesome job with these. Blaze and Caliendo, how does that look? Blaze is undefeated right now.
Yeah, and Joey Blaze, you only expect that he's gotten better. And this is going to be big for Iowa, too. If Caliendo loses this and then he potentially falls to a 4 seed, right? He might not even make finals. This could be a huge implications if Caliendo loses this, seeding-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know what? I kind of don't want that to happen because I really want to see Caliendo and Lockett. Well, we're going to see them. We're going to see him at the dual meet. That's right.
We will on the 22nd,
Yeah,
I
I
believe.
forgot about that. So we will see that. Yeah. So
Look at that.
yeah, that's going to be interesting. Those top 4 at 65 are
Dude,
tough.
I'm so prepared. I got the freaking Iowa,
Boom!
Oklahoma State dual meet preview coming out. That's not till February 22nd. Had it ready, fire up there just in case you want to talk about it. You mentioned it. There it is.
That's perfect,
Bang.
man. I can't help to, like that's such a good duel. Jax and Ayala, like it's gonna be awesome, man.
We got time
these
to
are
talk
great.
about that. Iowa, but yeah, it's Penn State, Ohio State this weekend. But listen, there's your top 12. Kevin, before we get to the Penn State, Ohio State, maybe a couple dual meet breakdowns individually, you want to talk undefeateds remaining? You want to talk Hodge?
Yeah.
There you go. Let's talk undefeateds remaining.
So we got, excuse me, I'm sorry. We got 28 undefeated wrestlers left. And looking at these guys, we're going to get rid of 2 of them this week. We're going to get rid of one of the 125s. We're going to get rid of one of the 133s because Blaze and Davino and Lilidal and Buzakis. Outside of that, you might see a lot of these stick. Blaze going to beat Caliendo? Is Oliveri ever going to wrestle again? A dual meet? Stanich is still rolling along. Seidel rolling along. Seidel just keeps teching people. He's got 10 technical falls already. It's unbelievable.
Seidel looks scary.
Yeah. And I really wanted to see that Jax match. We might have to just wait till March to see that. But a lot of people were saying, Zach, oh, by the way, I got on these guys. I also listed the coaches ranking, Crystal Ball from Willie, Win Magazine ranking, Intermat Flow. Everything's on here you could possibly need. The last thing I will add is quality matches like top 10 and ranked wins. I'll put that back on so you can get a good idea of, how, if a guy's 21-0, well, who's he wrestled, right? So that gives you a good idea of who he's wrestled. But a lot of people were asking, Zach, isn't this an unusual amount of undefeated wrestlers at this point in time?
Good question.
Bosch was actually talking about it on Bosch and the Brain Show. And I got thinking, man, I got to check this out because it is kind of crazy. Because honestly, I get happy every time somebody loses because I get to. It's less work for me, right? This is bullcrap, man. 28 games, I'm getting sick of this.
Go follow him on X at Cornell_Kevin S if you want to see the graphic better. But it is slowly getting easier to read on the screen for the live viewers. That's great.
Yeah, and I also do have the link that you can see Google Sheets. But I went through, Zach, like a psycho, and I put a chart together that shows how many undefeated wrestlers there have been the past decade, after NCAAs, before NCAAs, before conferences, and then right around this time, just to see where we are at right now with 28 wrestlers. How exactly does that look? And when you're looking at this chart, yes, that's that one.
Okay. Yep. Let me make this as big as possible. Go ahead.
2020, you got to understand there was no NCAA tournament. 2021, we kind of throw out. The numbers are kind of skewed because all the guys were like 3-0, 5-0, 2-0. You know what I mean? It was a half of a season, and it just wasn't that great. So I know you guys can. It's tough to see the top numbers, but you can understand which it is. 2026 is the first one with the yellow. So that's where we're at right now. We had 35 last month. We're down to 28. But you can see, Zach, it really is kind of crazy how many, like at this point last year, we had 17 undefeated wrestlers. And at this point 2 years ago, we only had 10. The most we've ever had in the past decade at the end of NCAAs has been 8. 2022, we had 8 undefeated wrestlers. I mean, that's crazy. 8 out of the 10 weight classes had an undefeated wrestler. Last year, we just had the 3, Messenbrink, Carter, and Wyatt. But this gives you kind of a good idea. I'm going to post this on X as well, and you can just kind of see where we're at. So it's not as crazy as I thought it would be, but it is for this time of year. It is significantly higher. It's 10 more than our highest year that we've.
And
I
a
mean, again,
significant amount of
2021. Throw
those
that out.
are freshmen.
Yeah.
Which leads into our
Yeah.
Hodge rankings. Okay, here's your Hodge graphic
Yes.
rating
Yes.
system.
This is a.
Tell us about this.
This is just it breaks down the categories for just the unbeaten wrestlers. Okay, so you got the most wins. So Jackson Joy's is 21-0, Ben DeVito 20-0. It goes down. Those are the top out of all the unbeatens. The highest win total. Then we got bonus percentage. We got 4 guys with 100% bonus. Yes, I understand that Jax Forrest has only wrestled 7 matches, but he's in the chart. He's there. So that's really Hodge goes by bonus percentage big time. It's record. Second thing is dominance, and then it says bonus percentage in parentheses. Then the third is quality competition, and then 4 sportsmanship. The next ranking is the dominance rating. A lot of people ask me what this is. It's real easy to calculate yourself. It's 6 points as a fall or a default medical forfeit injury, just like you'd score in a dual meet. A tech is 5, majors 4, decisions 3. You add them all up, all the matches, whether it's 6, 5, 4, or 3. You divide by the number of matches, you come up with your dominance rating. Mitchell Messenbrink right now is a 5.35. So the guys that you see in the yellow, all of those guys average a technical fall every match, which is crazy. Just to kind of give you an inside look at the history of the Hodge Trophy. Cal Sanderson has the highest dominance rating of a season. His senior year, he had a 5.50. And then under that, you had Zane Rutherford, Ben Askren had like high 5.3s, and Stephen Neal had like a high like 5, or he had like a 5.2 something. So again, wow. Jax only has 7 matches. That's going to come down. It's just naturally going to come down. But look at all those high dominance ratings. And then we got falls and tech falls, okay? Ben DeVino's been killing it on tech falls all season long. And then when you're looking back at the other chart, you can kind of get a good sense. I have the key, but yellow is top, green is second, blue is third. So you can kind of get an idea. So if you see your guy's got a lot of green or green or yellow, then that means he's at the top of each thing category wise. So.
Okay, a couple comments I got to say. That's some great research, man. I'm trying to look for like sneaky Hodge winners here. I mean, the winner of Forrest Seidel, assuming when they win it all, could be one. Barr is in there, but maybe Ben DeVino? Yeah. I mean, obviously your front runner is Messenbrink, but, looking under the radar, maybe even Bastida, sneaky Hodge.
Yeah, man. And I think Josh Barr doesn't get enough talk. Everyone's like Messenbrink, Mendez. And listen, Mendez he's wrestled a lot of good quality competition, right? The thing is when these guys get into NCAA and conferences, they're all going to have good quality wins. Everybody in the Big Ten is going to have good quality wins. Mendez, he has 2 matches that weren't bonus, right? And which brings him down to the 88.2. But he was down to like 81 at one point, 81%, 80. So he's working his way back up there. It just a lot depends on who's in your weight class, what conference you're in, and what NCAA's looks like. But Zach, I think by the end of NCAA's, we're probably going to have about 4 undefeated wrestlers, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny because Mendez not at the top of any of these charts, really. And everyone talks about him like, yeah. But as you mentioned, long way to go here.
He's wrestled Hardy twice. He's wrestled Echemendia. He's wrestled a lot of the top guys, and he's beaten them pretty soundly. I think that it's Messenbrink's to lose. But watch out for Josh Barr, and the 133 winner.
Which is tough to pick, which is why I'm leaning towards Josh Barr at the number 2 overall pick in fantasy right now. But we talked about that. Let's move on. Guys who have only lost to unbeatens. How about this list?
I can use your guys' help in the comment section. I did this quickly. It's possible that I missed someone. I did this kind of top of my head. Guys that their only losses are to undefeated wrestlers. Okay. Uh, Conway is kind of a weird situation. Jackson Smith was undefeated. Now he's gone for the year, so that's why he's in there. But Conway, man, 28-1. Um, but these are all guys. Frost has only lost to Davino. Peterson's lost to Bazakas twice. Lilladal. Cornella's having a great season, man. He got taken down in the last 10 seconds to Stanich. That's his only loss. Carter Young gave up 32 points in a match. That's still mind-blowing.
Look good to start.
Something I wanted to mention about Caleb Larkin. Okay, so say we're talking about his RPI, his coach's ranking, and all that. He's only going to be credited for the matches at 157. Okay, so he's 17-2, but he's 11-1 at 149, and he's 6-1 at 157. So only the 6-1 matches are going to be credited. So he doesn't even have enough for a coach's ranking yet, because he's going to need 8 matches at that weight. And when you're looking through the matches, you see these are an example of matches that aren't going to count. When you see this unknown, generally what that means is these guys are not certified by the NCAA. So when you see it that in WrestleStat, which they do a fantastic job with this, that's when you're going to know that these matches aren't counting. It says unknown. These guys are, whether they're gray shirting with an RTC, with a club, they're just not certified. I know a lot of people used to say, well, are they attached or unattached? You can't use that wording anymore because there are examples where guys are unattached, but they're still certified by the NCAA, so they still count. And kind of an interesting thing about this, Zach, and I didn't know this till recently, if guys are wrestling D2 and D3 guys, those matches actually count on their record for their season and career. They just don't count on their RPI and coaches ranking. But if a guy's wrestling D3 guys, they count on his record because those guys are certified by the NCAA. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Maybe something a lot of people aren't aware of about Caleb Larkin there.
Yeah, so he hasn't been wrestling too, man. Like he missed a couple matches, but he's got to get his match count up.
He better.
Or he's
I want to see
gonna
that
miss out on
Shapiro rematch. Yeah.
Yeah. Shapiro looks like him and Ruiz will end up just at 15 matches, it looks like, because they're in the Ivies now, so they get 2 matches at conferences. I can't stand the Ivy League tournament. I wish it was the EIWA again, but.
All right. You got this allocation stat. One final thing. You want to talk about this before we go talk about this weekend's matchups?
So this was last year's allocations, everyone, and this is how it works. You're going to use, as you see, they got this is when they figured out the allocations for last year. So the ACC had 4 at 125, which means the top 4 place finishers at 125, they go to NCAAs. Then you see the at-large bids on the bottom. So after they figure out all that, then they're going to take the 4 guys. So say for 125, they're going to take the 4 guys and they're going to calculate their RPI, coaches ranking, and if they got the 750 winning percentage. If they have all 3 of those, the one who has the highest ranking of those is going to be the one that gets the wild card, and there's going to be 4 slots. So another reason why it's important to get an RPI, a coach's ranking, and finish above 750 for the for your winning percentage. So this is just an example of how that's going to work. If anybody's got any questions,
I should have included that at the different part of the show. All right.
Oh, it's all good, Zach. I grounded you with that.
Let's talk about it, baby. It's Ohio State, Penn State, 1 versus 2 coming up, folks, this Friday night, and we got to talk about it. There is a path to Ohio State winning. I believe it's going to be 5-5 matches here. Obviously, your swing matches here, 125, 133. We have to have those go the Buckeyes' way, right? That Mendez, we can get that one. I'm giving up Ethan Stiles. Boy, I would love if Brandon Cannon made his return. Just told me, Kevin. I don't expect to see it. I guess we expect to see Maddox Shaw there up against P.J. Duke, but how much fun would it be if Brandon Cannon walks out for the Buckeyes and all of a sudden that would swing this dual meet in a big way. But outside of that, then you got Levi Karchula. My dad said, dude, Levi has had fits with Karchula last time. You got to include that in your top 12 matchups. And then you got to say Ohio State's favorite at heavyweight with Feldman over Mirasola. But this is going to be a fun one. Number 1, number 2, Friday Night Wrestling, Kevin. What are you looking forward to here?
Oh man, this is going to be just incredible. We've been waiting for all this all year. Unfortunately, yeah, Brandon Cannon. I don't think we're going to see him, and that's a huge bummer because PJ Duke should get 5 or 6 points for whoever he wrestles. I mean, Maddox Shaw, he's a tough kid, but he's a 149 pounder. All right. Joy beat him this year, I think 11-1. Antrell Taylor beat him 11-3. He got the major right at the end. I think that PJ Duke is, they're gonna tell him, you got to go out there and tech or pin this kid, right? And Tom Ryan's gonna tell Maddox Shaw, you got to go out there and not get teched or pinned. But easier said than done when you're moving up a weight class to wrestle Duke. I think that's a big hole there. Jesse Mendez, I think he's just going to want to put it on Braden Davis.
Oh, I think he will. I'm thinking a tech fall there.
Really? I think
Is that crazy?
It could be, man. It could. I think it's definitely a major. It could be. The question is Braden Davis going to be able to control himself when things start going downhill? Because I don't know.
That's a slippery slope you're talking about.
Yeah, man.
That's downhill.
He seems to not handle. He doesn't handle losing very well, right? But when you're looking at these weights, Zach, what weight do you see on this? Let's just say that Maddox Shaw is the guy. What weights do you see on this where you're just like, there's no chance really of one guy beating the other guy?
Ooh, no chance of one guy. I mean, Barr is a big favorite there.
Yeah.
Mendez is a big. Mendez, lock. Barr, lock. Messenbrink, lock. And in PJ Duke's facing Maddox Shaw, lock.
Yeah. So
right after that, maybe 1B would be Van Ness there.
Yeah. I don't think that Styles can beat Van Ness. I think Van Ness is just too smart, too crafty. I think it can be a close match. I just think that Van Ness should win that one. Karchla was very close to Levi Haynes one time. I mean, he blew it right at the end. But, Karchla losing to Patrick Kennedy kind of, I don't know. I don't see that. I think that Levi's going to win that one, absolutely. Can Mirasola beat Feldman?
No.
I don't think so either.
I figured it out. Here is the path. Karchla's got to beat Levi, which is very possible. And Bouzakis has to catch Luke for a pin.
Yeah.
And Davino beats Blaze. Then Feldman beats Mirasola. And Mendez gets a tech. Boom! Ohio State wins 20-18. Enter it in Wrestle Madness.
Last year, Zach. Yes, Wrestle Madness, absolutely. They got a lot of good stuff coming up. Make sure you answer that. Last year, Zach, McCrone pinned Lilladall. Remember that? In the duel.
Yeah, and Bouzakis, I feel like it's even more likely coming from him.
Bouzakis, man, here's what I've noticed about him. He does things in the first period of these guys that I've never seen. Like, I don't see other guys do to guys in their weight. He just manhandles them, right? To me, he looks like he's just the same built guy. He looks the same size to me at 133. But I've seen him kind of, he wrestled Steve-O. He was up like 9-0 real early, and he ended up winning like 9-2. You saw him against Peterson, throw him right on his back, but then he doesn't really open up the gap, I don't know if that's a weight
style
thing or just I don't know.
It's a style, man. He goes for it, baby. And if he catches Luke, young Luke, you catch lightning in a bottle called Bouzakis.
I think that like when McCrone pinned him, it was more of a like McCrone's just an animal on top. He's long and he turned him. He turned him and pinned him. Bouzakis is would have to pin him and catching him in something, which he's strong as hell, man. That guy's. But I can kind of see if he can weather the storm. I think Lillidahl will win the match if he can. When I say weather the storm, if he can keep it within 5 in the first period.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No, this one will be fun, and we'll be back on Thursday night. Talk a lot more about that one. But there are
Oh
quite a
yeah, your
few
dad's
other.
gonna be fired up, man.
He's gonna be fired up. He's gonna be nerved up.
All fired up, Wayne.
Everything I'm saying right now has got him nerved up. He's normally the one putting the theoretical
He
ways
should
that Penn
call in
State
right now.
could
Is
lose.
what he should do.
He should, man. Phone lines are open, folks. We're at the end of the show. There's some other big dual meets. I put up the previews here on Sunday. Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech. We got some fun matchups. It's not going to be Jax. It's going to be it's not going to be Ronnie Ramirez then either. At 133.
It's going to be Figs probably.
It'll be Figs. My fault there. But couple other fun matchups there.
Look at 149, man. That's going to be a good match. Swiderski is on the up and up. Colin Guy,
a tough one.
He beat Biskins, right? But then he lost
to Winton Dankins, right?
Yeah.
He lost to Winton Dankins. Winton Dinkin Duncan. Remember we announced their match? And yeah, he was great at that Christmas Classic.
I was thinking this the other day, Zach. I was laughing so hard, because someone was giving Justin crap about pronouncing names, and I thought about us, and I was thinking, and Wayne, you'll like this, about what a catastrophe it was when Guy wrestled Biskins. I think I blacked out because we were just on the show, and I'm like, this is going to be a nightmare. And the three of us are sitting there going, Guy, Gaj, Bizgens, Guy, Gaj. And I'm like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. It was the perfect storm, man. We're gonna have to hit the study books.
Kevin, I feel terrible every time we mess up a name. I really do. Like we don't do it on purpose, but I wanted to call in and say what a great point Kevin had about Bazakis. And watching him against Peterson, that last match this past weekend, that's exactly what popped in my head. Oh my goodness, this guy is beatable. This guy is game plannable. And what Kevin said is exactly correct. I hate to say it. I hate to say this because I just blasted this all last episode. But if Lightning Luke could slow things down in the first period, obviously cutting that weight has an effect on Bazakis. And I never seen it quite as clearly as I did against Peterson. But he was not the same guy, periods 2 and 3, especially period 3. And you don't see much drop off with Luke. So I 100% agree that I would hope that the Penn State coaches are saying the same thing. That's be careful that first period. That's work his head. Just work his head.
So
That's make him.
So Wayne, you're saying that Lightning Luke has to try and weather the storm?
That's
if you guys want,
it.
you can hang up on me.
Yep.
You can hang up on me if you want. It's okay.
No, you're
dude.
Exactly right. You're exactly right. And I'll tell you one other thing is I've seen Bazakis make throws where he's not in the position to be able to make that throw. He must have incredible strength for 125.
Oh my God. Wayne, there was an interview of Bazakis this past summer. It was right after U23 Nationals. He was wrestling 61 kilograms, which is 134 and a half pounds. The whole interview, all he talked about is how much weight he had to cut. Bazakis, I couldn't eat. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even drink. I've been sucking weight to make 134 and a half this past summer. Now he's down to 125.
I know.
I mean, that's that. I don't know how.
No wonder he's
the boy must have hollow bones or something.
No wonder he's throwing guys around and pinning them.
Yes, and someone that is a gambling man, they'll pick Bazakis to win this title. But it is a gamble because if someone game plans him right and they have the stamina and the offense to keep going. I mean, Bazakis was still tough in the third period, but no doubt, I was excited when I watched that Peterson match, thinking, there's the weakness.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there a chance in the world that Tom Ryan sends McCrone out? Is there a chance even? Is that just stupid talk or what? McCrone, who pinned Lillidahl last year, is there a chance at all that he sends, knowing that what McCrone did last year and knowing that Buzakis is going to have to wrestle him again at conferences and
Now,
probably at
Kevin,
NCAAs?
bite your tongue. I don't need you giving out all kinds of
Not
advice
a bad idea.
over there.
My
Not
bad.
a bad idea. Yeah, I kind of like that idea.
My bad.
Hey, I'll get off and let other callers
No,
on.
one final question, Dad. PJ Duke catcher-bone match. What'd you think about that?
Yeah.
I agreed with Zach there 100%. And it was like, I fully expected Duke to come out as a man that learned his lesson, and it's just go time. So like I said, get in there, let the dust fly, and trust your stuff. And he went out and looked like the same guy. And finally, until his back was against the wall, he was about to lose. Did we see the what did you call it, Zach? The desperation or something?
Yeah,
and
desperation mode, angry
I hope,
mode.
Yeah, and I hope that continues. He's going to need that if Cannon comes running out, and Cannon could come running out. We're all expecting not to see him until Big Tens, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see McCrone. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Cannon running out. Believe me, Tom Ryan wants to win this duel.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
wouldn't that be something?
He definitely wants to win. I'll tell you one thing. I did say that the match would be close because of their last match, Duke and Canterbone. But what a difference. That last match they had 2-1. It was a snooze fest. Canterbone ran away from him the whole time. This time, he takes Duke down. Duke gives up the first takedown he's given up in his college career. Then the second takedown he gives up in his college career. And I will say this, I've seen Duke plenty. You guys know that I've been talking about Duke for years now. He is one of the nicest, mellowest kids you'll ever meet off the mat. But on the mat, he's got that nastiness in him. Not like not like he's trying to be a cheap shot or anything, but he will try and physically harm you. And that's the kid that needs to mix that energy with his arsenal of offense he's got with his foot sweeps and balance and he's just got to go, man. It's time to go. It's go time for him.
I finally got to see a little bit of that.
I'll say one more thing about this Ohio State-Penn State match. I see it as Penn State are clear favorites in 2 bouts. Ohio State are clear favorites in 2 bouts. 3 bouts, Penn State has just this very, very small, slight advantage. They need to win 2 of them. 3. And then I have the final 3 bouts. I see it as complete 50-50, and Penn State has to win 1 of them. That makes it 5-5. I think if it's 5-5, most likely Penn State will win that duel. I think Ohio State has to win 6 bouts to win this duel just because of Penn State's scoring history. They score points.
Yeah, their bonuses. I mean, you got to figure Barr, Messenbrink are and Duke, unless Cannon comes out. Duke, those are 3 bonus matches right there. And then on Ohio State's side, Mendez. Is that it? I mean, bonus wise, maybe just Mendez.
Because in all seriousness, I mean, I see Feldman and Mirasola as kind of a close match.
Yeah. Well, listen, we'll be back Thursday night. Me and Wayne there. We'll talk about it live Thursday night. We'll have plenty of time to talk about it. PJ Duke did get taken down for the first time in his college career by Cam. Kevin, you were calling him Canterbone. I said Cam Canyabone.
Cam Cannabone. New York boy.
Hey, Kevin, how about my biggest mistake of all is Kilkenny. Kilkenny went out there, and I wanted to. Kilkenny. Kevin
You
jumps
said,
on
what
it
was
right
his
away.
name? Vinny Kilkenny. It was so funny. You killed Kenny.
I gotta go. Bye.
All
All
right.
right, Wayne. See ya.
He'll be back
To
Thursday.
Zach, to answer Larry
Larry's
Steele's question.
Yep.
Yeah. So Larry, on that unbeaten chart I have, there's a little asterisk next to guys who have an unofficial loss this season. An unofficial loss, a loss that does not count on your record and does not count in seeding, just does not count. Those are losses against teammates, losses in the All-Star Classic, like Seymour. Seymour has a loss to Ventresca in the All-Star Classic, losses to high school wrestlers, or non-certified NCAA wrestler. Like, for instance, Cassidy lost to Ethan Fernandez from Cornell, but Ethan Fernandez was gray shirting, so he was not certified by the NCAA, so the match does not count. Lilidal and Bouzakis, those matches against their teammates, they do not count. The reason they don't is because they don't want teams matching guys up, padding their win-loss totals by having them, what would happen in the past is they would just forfeit the match and then the guy would get a win. So those matches do not count on any record of theirs at all. I did note it, though. I put an asterisk next to it, and I color-coded it, of course, like the rest of the quilt, which you can see on the key bank on which those are. So great question, though, Larry.
All right, great question, great answer. We're going to move on. There's other big dual meets coming up this weekend. I'm going to burn through them, Kevin, and tell you my big matchups. You jump in if you got any comments. We already touched on Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech, so we'll move on. Another big one this weekend, West Virginia, Iowa State. We got Strickenberger Poole in there at 125. Ty Walter, Zerbin, both of those mentioned in my top 12 matchups. Brody Conley, Gaitan, hopefully there, 174. Ian Bush, Dean, hopefully at 184. Maybe another fun one, Rune Lawrence and Rocky Elam there, but West Virginia, Iowa State, that's Friday night at 7 Eastern. Okay, we also have Lehigh Penn. Okay, say a couple things there on that one.
Oh, sorry. If there ever was a 4-1 SV match at 184, that's the one right there. Ian Bush and, Isaac Dean. Those guys are meant for that. Watch out for Gunnar Andrick, man. He's pretty tough. I'm curious to see if he can do anything against Evan Frost. And Jordan Titus, I don't know what happened to him. He used to be a total stud, but he's really, really obnoxious and annoying to wrestle. He's really hard to take down. I think he has the potential to give Echemendia some fits. I know it's kind of out there, but just kind of watch that one. I'm rooting for Zerbin, man. I'm rooting for Zerbin over Waters. And that is all I got to say.
All right, that's going to be a really fun dual meet Friday night at 7 Eastern as well. Moving on, we got Lehigh Penn. We got Stanich and Composto there, 141. Rosinski and Jude Swisher, 157. Brignola and Seafelt at 165. Any thoughts there, Kevin?
Yeah, Rosinski and Swisher will be a great match. Swisher was a blood rounder last year. He lost to Kazak by a point in the blood round. Lazalewski is a tough kid, man. Composto and Stanich beat Composto by 7 last year, but Composto, he doesn't lose a lot. Like I said, he's got 2 losses this year to Cornell. Last year, he placed 4th at NCAAs. He only had 3 losses. So he lost to Bartlett, Stanich, and Aliris. Those were his only losses last year. So should be a decent match.
All right, another Friday night banger there. Moving on, Iowa, you Hawkeye fans, that's 9 Eastern Friday night. We're going up against the Michigan Wolverines here. 125, Peterson and Sotelo. Ryder, Block, McNeil. I'm curious about that. I almost put that in my top 12 matchups this weekend, but I want to see who wins that. A couple other fun ones. Kennedy and Bo Montanona, and then I assume Gabe Arnold and Brock Montanona, and then Ben Keeter and Gadiali. Gadiali continues to get tested. We'll see if he continues to pass the tests. Your thoughts there on this duel?
Yeah, Sean Bourmette's got a really fun team. These guys are fun to watch. They might not be where they want to be yet, but please give me Jordan Williams and Cam Canterbone.
Yeah.
Voinovich he doesn't really, I don't know, he doesn't excite me too much, but Jordan Williams he's got a high ceiling and he can get in some pretty wild situations. I think Canterbury and Williams could be a fun match. Block, I think, has enough offense to beat McNeil, but McNeil is a very smart, crafty vet. But yeah, should be some very good matches on there. You're right, the Matt Nonas are always fun to watch.
Yeah,
So
I
Kennedy
enjoy
and Matt
watching
Nona
them.
will definitely like to watch that one.
All right, not the only dual meet on this weekend. Sunday, Iowa has Purdue, Ryder Block, Gavin Brown. But here's a big one, and this was in my top 12. Michael Caliendo and Joey Blaze. I talked about it. A lot of seeding potential repercussions that could come from that at 165. Your thoughts, Iowa, Purdue?
Yeah, Caliendo Blaze, man, that's gonna be awesome. And when was the last time you had two brothers make it this far in the season undefeated? It's had to have been a while.
That'd be a
Maybe the
fun stat to
Brands.
look up. Maybe if you get bored one day, Kevin. All right, moving on.
Yeah,
And
even if I don't get bored.
not the only match Ohio State has. Then on Sunday, Ohio State goes, I believe, to Maryland. We got Davino and maybe Braxton Brown. That could be fun. Maybe a letdown match opportunity there for Davino. Keep your eye on it. And then at 197, Geog and Branson John. Any thoughts here, Ohio State, Maryland, Kevin?
No. Brown and Davino definitely the key matchup in there. So Davino doesn't seem like, I don't know, man. That kid just is a trooper. He just goes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable freshman year.
I almost had that in my top 12. My dad said Davino's going to tear him up. Take that out. Moving on, Nebraska with a couple dual meets this weekend. Couple testers for the Cornhuskers. First on Friday night, I believe, going up against number 10 Illinois. A couple fun matchups here. Number 9 Van D, Lucas Bird. I mentioned the Antrell Taylor, Cannon Webster, Arujo, and Brandon Scholes. And then at heavyweight, AJ Ferrari, Luke Luffman. What are you looking at here, Kevin?
I think that Illinois could do something wild here. I think that here's the thing, man. It kind of that's a no. I think Cannon Webster does have the stuff to beat Antrell, but he's gonna, like I said, he's gonna have to get that offense on early. I think Van D though can beat Bird.
I know, that's
Bird
why
has
I highlighted that one. Yeah.
Bird has been winning these matches 5-4, 3-1, and I don't know, man. I'm just, he's undefeated, right? But 5-4, 3-1, he's got 5-2. I don't know. Van D has the offense to score points on Bird. Bird is one of the smartest wrestlers out there, but I think that's going to be, and I think Van D probably knows he can win that match. So I think I might even be more curious about that match than 157 even.
Yeah. I think that was just outside my top 12. That might have been number 13, but yeah, that's going to be a fun one for Nebraska. And then they turn around on Sunday and wrestle Indiana. Not a bad Indiana squad here. A couple fun matchups, 165, Arujo and Tyler Lillard. And then at 197, Cam McDaniel and Solers there. Anything you're looking at here?
Indiana is a lot tougher than people give them credit for. They put a hurting on Wisconsin. I think it was 30-6, 30-9, something like that. Wisconsin they hadn't scored a point until the last two matches. They won 197. They won in sudden victory, and then they had a pin with Amos at the end. But Indiana also has a win over Columbia, which all of a sudden looks like a lot better of a win than it did earlier in the season. But they're tough, man. So do not sleep on Indiana. Obviously, Nebraska has a much more talented team, top to bottom, but Indiana hangs in there, and I really like the direction that they're going in.
Yeah, I agree. Then the final big one that I have this weekend is on Sunday. It's Iowa State, Northern Iowa. A couple fun ones here. Farber, Frost, Ratchin, Jacob Frost, Downey, Uton, and Sima, maybe Gaitan. But yeah, this could be a fun meet. This kind of, I would say this is a down year for UNI. But I mean, last year was so strong. It's tough to follow that up. But this will be a fun duel meet.
Yeah. There's really two of my favorite coaches for sure. And Nick Fox just beat Ryder a couple weeks ago. So it's Trevor Anderson's always tough. Farber, it's definitely going to be some really good matches in there. I think Iowa State's just too strong for him, but Schwab always has his guys wrestling hard.
Yeah, no. All right. And then we're going to look ahead to next weekend. Just a couple ones. I want to show Cornell a little bit of love. They got NC State next weekend. Kevin, tell us what you're looking at. Jackson Joy Biskins.
Biskins. Guy and Biskins.
Guy and Biskins.
These
Ruiz
guys,
Singleton?
Singleton just lost in overtime, which I was kind of surprised. Ruiz and Singleton went back and forth last year, but then Ruiz beat him 11-0 at NCAAs. But that's going to be Ruiz's toughest match since the beginning of the year. So yeah, that is going to be a good match. And Joy and Biskins, that is going to be a spectacular match. Those two guys are really good. And Biskins is really tough. And I think that's going to say a lot about what happens at NCAAs, at 149. I do want to really quick, that comment you got on the screen there. Can you please tell me when the last time, have you seen Bird put people on his back this year? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But and then I also mentioned earlier in the show, Iowa, Oklahoma State next weekend. We're coming down to the wire, folks. Next weekend's really it. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. But how about these graphics, Kevin? I spent a lot of time working on all these graphics.
Dude, you did a stellar job, Zach.
I didn't even put up.
It.
I had all the scores for last weekend's in case we mentioned them. I want to show us a lot of love to as many teams as possible. And part of that inspiration is coming from our new show, the Open Mat Lines. We got connects we're building a list, okay, of schools, and we're going to be building on that show Fridays for now. We might move that, but yeah, that's a fun show. We're looking fan participation, call-in only show, man. That one's fun. That'll be back this Friday.
Yeah, Zach, you're killing it on that. That's a great show, and that's a great chance. A lot of people just call, man. It's not hard. I know
you don't have to be a specialist. We're kind of going down that path, but yeah, if you're anyone who's anyone want to have something to say, call in. And we appreciate the feedback. Yeah, I want characters from around the country, man. Like the Feinbaum show there. Remember the old SEC Feinbaum show, dude?
Oh yeah.
SEC football.
That was awesome.
Yeah, but
I'll tell you what, man. We got so many awesome, followers and people in the comments section. Super smart people. Just call up, man. It's nothing bad will happen. It's easy. Call up.
Yeah.
Nothing to be afraid of.
We'll be nice to you, but listen, Jason Bryan in the comments, evening gents, pick up the phone, boom chica. I didn't get a call, man. We got to schedule Jason Bryan to be back on here soon, but
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
all I got, man. We'll be back. We got quite a fun weekend of wrestling ahead. I'll be back with Wayne, my dad, here Thursday night, Friday with the Open Mat Line show. I do want to say one final note. I closed on my house today, finally.
All right.
Folks, I am so excited. And it was the offer that I took live
on the TV
on the show. on the YouTube, on the show. During the
hilarious.
Show, it was all the good luck I needed was just having you guys there with me. So, everyone, we appreciate you watching. Come back Thursday night, like and subscribe. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, everyone who joined in the comments. Zach. Comments were fired up, baby. So, fired up, man.
Awesome.
Wrestling is here. We'll be back. See ya.